The chairman of the committee is not here.
The chairman of the committee is here.
Ripe for no, he's there. I'm looking at the screen. So ripe for a little coup d'etat. What do you think?
Excellent. All right. Well, unfortunately, I can't see you all, so I'm assuming Councilmember Fruman is there.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, should not take long. Team, let me know when we're good to go, and I'll get us going.
We're good to go now.
Thank you. Right. Well, see. Good afternoon. I'm Robert White, council member at large and chair of the Committee on Housing. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. The time is 2:36 p.m. and we are meeting both virtually and in room 123 of the John A. Wilson building. I'm calling to order this additional meeting of the Committee on Housing, and I recognize that we have a quorum consisting of myself, Chairman Mendelson, and Ward 3 Council Member Matt Fruman. We're here today to mark up four bills: B 26-98, the Home Purchase Assistance for Transit Workers Amendment Act of 2025, Bill 26-429, the LIHTC Rent Stabilization Exemption Clarification Amendment Act of 2025, Bill 26-177, the Extreme Heat Eviction Protection Amendment Act of 2025, and proposed resolution 26-356, the Rental Housing Commission Adam R. Hunter Confirmation Resolution of 2025. These bills touch several parts of DC's housing landscape. First, the LIHTC Rent Stabilization Exemption Clarification Amendment Act, which I introduced with council members Nadeau, Bonds, and Chairman Mendelson, codifies the district's longstanding practice of exempting low-income housing tax credit, or LIHTC, housing from rent stabilization rules. This bill is about protecting more than 11,000 affordable homes in nearly 100 buildings across the district and safeguarding the residents who live in them. These homes were built and preserved using LIHTC, one of our most powerful tools for affordable housing. For decades, LIHTC properties have operated under federal affordability rules, exempt from local rent stabilization, a framework that has allowed us to bring in private capital to support deeply affordable housing without new local tax dollars. But earlier this year, a court ruling overturned that long-standing practice. The court found that LIHTC buildings are not exempt from rent stabilization. That decision may seem technical, but the consequences are not. It threatens the financial stability of LIHTC properties, many of which were underwritten with the assumption that federal rent limits, not local rent limits, applied. If we don't act, we risk defaults, foreclosures, and displacement for thousands of low and moderate income families. This bill restores clarity by aligning statute with what has always been the council's intent, that LIHTC properties are exempt from rent stabilization because they already operate under strict federal rent limits tied to household income. It also makes the exemption retroactive to 1985, ensuring continuity and protecting existing investments. Let me be clear, this bill does not raise rents. It preserves the rent structures tenants agreed to when they sign their leases. And while LIHTC units are not subject to the same rent increase restrictions as rent stabilized units, they are governed by federal oversight, including regular inspections and the threat of tax credit recapture that incentivizes property maintenance and tenant protections. I want to acknowledge some of the concerns we heard during the hearing. Some witnesses raised valid points about building conditions and tenant protections. I share those concerns. That's why we must continue to strengthen oversight and accountability for LIHTC properties. But removing the exemption would not solve these issues. It would destabilize financing and jeopardize the very housing that we are trying to preserve. I'm proud to bring this bill forward today. It's a targeted, necessary fix that protects tenants, preserves affordable housing, and ensures that our housing programs remain viable and effective. Second, the Home Purchase Assistance for Transit Workers Amendment Act, introduced by Councilmember Nadeau, is a simple but powerful step toward fairness and workforce stability. It expands eligibility for the Employer Assisted Housing Program, or EHAP, to include DC's public transit workers, the people who operate and maintain Metrobus, Metro Rail, Metro Access, and DC Streetcar. These workers keep our city moving every day, and they deserve the opportunity to live in the communities they serve. Right now, even transit workers who live in the district are excluded from EHAP. That's a gap we need to close. Transit workers are essential, and this bill recognizes that by extending them the same home ownership support we offer to other public servants. Importantly, this expansion is fiscally responsible. EHAP has had an average surplus of $2.3 million annually over the past 4 fiscal years, meaning that we can support more workers without reducing access to current participants. The committee made a small but important change in the bill's definition of public transit employee to ensure eligibility is limited to workers in district funded systems. That keeps the program focused and aligned with our local priorities. I want to thank Councilmember Nadeau for introducing this legislation and for her continued advocacy on equitable home ownership. Third, the Extreme Heat Eviction Protection Amendment Act, introduced by Councilmember Louis George, Bonds, and Nadeau, prohibits evictions on days exceeding 95 degrees Fahrenheit, mirroring the prohibition on evictions for extremely cold days. The dangers of extreme heat are serious. They include heat stroke, dehydration, fainting, and worsening respiratory conditions such as asthma. Data show that unhoused populations are especially vulnerable to these health risks due to higher exposure. The district has protected tenants from evictions on very cold days for decades, but extremely hot days pose life-threatening risks too. So extending the same protection to tenants during heat waves is just as necessary. This bill puts health and safety of tenants first. Finally, PR 26 356 reappoints Judge Adam R. Hunter as chairperson of the Rental Housing Commission. I want to thank my colleagues who introduced these bills, the witnesses who testified at our public hearings, and all the residents and stakeholders who worked with us to move these bills forward and up for a vote today. I want to make one note about the Judge Adam Hunter confirmation resolution. The committee received an anonymous allegation that Judge Hunter has misused government resources by not taking time off from the Rental Housing Commission while working and traveling for his other job. At the hearing, I requested that Judge Hunter provide timesheets documenting his proper use of leave as a matter of due diligence, and he agreed. Unfortunately, the executive expressed concern that this would set a precedent for nominees sending personnel files to the council. I want to be clear, this is not a precedent or standard practice. This was a one-time request prompted by specific allegations, one that Judge Hunter was ready and willing to answer. The executive confirmed that there were no irregularities in Judge Hunter's time reporting. I appreciate Judge Hunter's willingness to answer the committee's questions, and I support his nomination. I'm disappointed that the executive would not allow him to share his timesheet with the committee, but I was not going to hold up his confirmation with that kind of argument, particularly given the fact that we got a confirmation from the executive that there were no irregularities. With that, I will turn to my colleagues for any statements they wish to provide.
None.
Thank you.
None, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I move the committee print and report for B 26-98, the Home Purchase Assistance for Transit Workers Amendment Act of 2025, with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicate by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion passes unanimously. At this time, I move the committee print and report for B 26-429, the LIHTC Rent Stabilization Exemption Clarification Amendment Act of 2025, with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please indicate by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it unanimously. I now move the committee print and report for B26-177, the Extreme Heat Eviction Protection Amendment Act of 2025, with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please indicate by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it unanimously. And finally, I move the committee print and report for PR 26-356, the Adam R. Hunter Confirmation Resolution of 2025, with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please indicate by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion passes unanimously. I want to thank my colleagues and my team. The business before the committee is concluded. The time is now 2:46 p.m., and this additional meeting of the Committee on Housing is adjourned.
Thank you.